Hello, this is Charles Fockaert on February 28, 2018. I welcome all of you. Thank you for watching, subscribing, sharing, and supporting this channel. This video is on three different topics. First one is my first strike one at YouTube. Number two is Mr. Sanders, Mr. Bernie Sanders, and his attack. I don't know how you can call it anything else on Mr. Voigt, and we'll get to that. But first, did I say three things? Oh yeah, the number three is I went to the Overton police substation yesterday, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. So first, YouTube strike. I played a lot of baseball. In fact, it's probably my most favorite sports, baseball. Used to be anyway. Played a lot of baseball. And I got the umpire in this game must have had his head up his posterior when he called a strike on me. And here's the email I got from YouTube. It's not very long. I'll read it to you. Hi, Charles Fockaert. As you may know, our community guidelines describe which content we allow and don't allow on YouTube. Your video, false flag, ops, and hoaxes, location number 477 was flagged for review. So some troll out there is watching or comes to my channel. Upon review, we've determined that it violates our guidelines. We've removed it from YouTube and assigned a community guideline strike or temporary penalty to your account. Video content restrictions. YouTubers share their opinions on a wide range of different topics. However, there's a fine line between passionate debate and personal attacks. Now keep this in mind, personal attacks. As our community guidelines outline, YouTube is not a platform for things like predatory behavior, stalking, threats, harassment, bullying, or intimidation. We take this issue seriously, and there are no excuses for such behavior. We remove comments, videos, or posts where the main aim is to maliciously attack or harass another user. If you're not sure whether or not your content crosses the line, we ask that you not post it. Learn more here. The impact of strikes. This is the first strike applied to your account. We understand that users seldom intend to violate our policies. That's why strikes don't last forever. This strike will expire in 3 months. However, it's important to remember that additional strikes could prevent you from posting content to YouTube or even lead to your account being terminated. How you can respond. If you believe this was a mistake, we'd like to hear from you. Yeah, I bet they would. Please follow both of these steps as simply deleting the video won't resolve the strike in your account, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through all that. But folks, first of all, I don't fit it. I went back and I watched the part that I think they're upset about, and I didn't cross any line. The location, I can't repeat what I did here, but you can go watch the video over at BitChute. When they took it off of YouTube, I went over to BitChute and I loaded it at the BitChute, and I'll put a link down below here to that particular video if I at all can below this video. But I didn't cross that guideline. I gave my opinion about where I would prefer these false ops to take place. I didn't suggest they should take place there, and I didn't encourage anybody to get involved in these false flag. You know, the government's not, the people behind these false flag ops and hoaxes are not going to take my advice and carry out one of their operations in the locations that I suggested. So, folks, we are slaves. We are absolutely. We have masters, YouTube, and all the rest of that. They control too much of our world, if not most all of it. Again, that's why I suggest we migrate over to BitChute. And I'm going to send an email to Ray. I do have his personal email. I've been on BitChute for quite a while. Like I said, maybe in the top, at least in the top 100 there, first 100 that got on there, maybe even lower than that, but no big deal. And so I'm going to send an email to Ray and see if there's a few. Joe asked me he couldn't find my account over at BitChute, and that is a problem. And I'm going to see what we can do about that. There's no frequently asked questions, FAQs, on the BitChute channel as far as I know. I'm going to send Ray an email, and I'm going to suggest he do that. See, that's the problem, folks. Google bought YouTube, and Google, with the triple parentheses around it, has all the money you could possibly need to improve their platform. So they're just pouring money into this YouTube platform, and you know what? I haven't seen a penny. I haven't seen a shekel yet out of YouTube. They keep telling me that next payment period you're going to get your shekels. I haven't seen a shekel yet, but they got all kinds of shekels to put in the platform. And guys like Vehi and whoever he's working with, they're working on a shoestring budget. And that's why I know all about that. I've began my businesses several times on a shoestring budget, so that's why I like to support BitChute as much as possible. I don't think I'm ever going to get this little. We're going to give you strike one, even though the ball was a slow ball on the way on the outside. Umpire is blind as a bat, but. That's the way life is, folks, and people like YouTube, and because they have so much money, and it is the video platform to be on, but not for much longer, folks. I think we're gonna have other platforms like BitChute that we're gonna be able to migrate to, and it's gonna be better. And also, BitChute is working on their own blockchain currency. And they're trying to figure out a way to get advertisers there. So, I just want to support BitChute as much as possible. If I get cut off here, that's where I'm going to be. And if I had full-time internet here in the mobile cabin, I'd be there already. Alrighty, I'm going to move on to number 2. And number 2 is Bernie Sanders and his attack on that fellow looking to work in the federal government. So let's go have a look at that, shall we?
Let me get to this issue that has bothered me and bothered many other people. And that is in the piece that I referred to that you wrote for a publication called Resurgent. You wrote, Muslims do not simply have a deficient theology. They do not know God because they have rejected Jesus Christ, his son, and they stand condemned. End of quote. Do you believe that statement is Islamophobic?
Absolutely not, Senator. I'm a Christian, and I believe in a Christian set of principles based on my faith. That post, as I stated in the questionnaire to this committee, was to defend my alma mater, Wheaton College, a Christian school that has a statement of faith that includes the centrality of Jesus Christ for salvation. And
again, I apologize. Forgive me. We just don't have a lot of time. Do you believe that people in the Muslim religion stand condemned? Is that your view?
Again, Senator, I'm a Christian, and I wrote that piece.
Well, what does that say?
With the statement of faith of Wheaton.
I understand that. I don't know how many Muslims there are in America. I really don't know. Probably a couple of million. Are you suggesting that all of those people stand condemned? What about Jews? They stand condemned too?
Senator, I'm a Christian.
I understand you are a Christian, but this country is made up of people who are not just. I understand that Christianity is the majority religion, But there are other people who have different religions in this country and around the world. In your judgment, do you think that people who are not Christians are going to be condemned?
Thank you for probing on that question. As a Christian, I believe that all individuals are made in the image of God and are worthy of dignity and respect, regardless of their religious beliefs. I believe that as a Christian, that's how I should treat all individuals.
And do you think your statement that you put into that publication, they do not know God because they've rejected Jesus Christ the Son and they stand condemned, do you think that's respectful of other religions?
Senator, I wrote a post based on being a Christian and attending a Christian school that has a statement of faith that speaks clearly with regard to the centrality of Jesus Christ in salvation.
I would simply say, Mr. Chairman, that this nominee is really not someone who is what this country is supposed to be about. I will vote no.
Senator Gardner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To my colleagues on the Senate committee, I hope that we are not questioning the faith of others and how they interpret their faith to themselves. Thank you for your willingness to serve our country.
Thought the guy there, Mr. Voigt, did a pretty good job. He stood his ground and he stayed with the point. He says, I am a Christian. I am a Christian. I am a Christian. And I wouldn't have done it that way, but that's the way he was probably told to do it. And he had every right to have his views, and I'll show you why in a minute. But, and Mr. Bernie, put the triple parentheses around Bernie Sanders. He just didn't get it. And if I would have been there, I would have said, how many times I got to tell you, Bernie? And that's why I'd never be able to work for the federal government, and I don't want to go anywhere near there. But folks, here's the point. Did you get the point? The real point of this? And I'm going to play it again. We're going to go back and have a look at that. I played it twice, and the second time through I caught it, and this is my opinion, of course, but this is what really irks Mr. Sanders. And let's go have a look at that, shall we?
People stand condemned. What about Jews? They stand condemned too?
In my view, you just saw Genesis 3:15 in action, folks. And this is what really ticks me off about you Judeo-Christians. You spiritualize. Satan has spiritual seed. No. And this is why the Khazarian theory is off. And I don't want to get into that right now, but if you don't understand, I've said this many times, if you don't understand, if you don't have a correct understanding of Genesis 3:15, you're not going to understand encounters like the one we just saw here between an Esau Edomite and an Israelite. Folks, these people hate our guts. There's a war on between us and them, between the seed of the woman, the seed of Eve, and the seed of Nakash. And you Judeo-Christians, you're supporting men like Bernie Sanders and many others I could name. Schumer, Feinstein, Boxer, Kushner. The list is endless. And you Judeo-Christians have your head up your posteriors, and you make me sick. Anyway, this man gets grilled by Mr. Bernie Sanders, and which is illegal as all get out, but these people, they get away with it because we no longer live under the rule of law. These people are above the law, and they don't give a damn what the law says. they're going to do what they want to do. And we need to come to the place where we say enough is enough. And that's one of the reasons I got my first strike on my YouTube video, because I came that close. I didn't go over the line. Go watch the video, and they don't like it. They realize that they're going too far. They're going over the lines, folks. I don't know where your line is drawn, but my line is actually drawn pretty much further back. The Judeo-Christians they're sleeping with the enemy. So let's go have a look at the law, shall we? Let's start at the highest law of the land. Bernie Sanders is supposed to uphold the Constitution, and he's supposed to defend and protect our rights. And let's go have a look at that, shall we? Oh, the U.S. Constitution, Article 6. Let's just skip down here to this paragraph. The senators and the representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, this contract between we the people and those who work in our federal government and our state government. But, get this, right here, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. See, if I would have been there, and that would have been me sitting there, I would have had a copy of the Constitution, and I would have read that back. I would have read the law back to Mr. Bernie Sanders. See, we need to be proactive. We need to be in their face, and they don't like that, and that's why they've attacked me my entire life. They don't want to hear about the Constitution, and they don't want to hear about the fact that it's Bernie Sanders who's not fit to be in the chair that he's in. He's a communist. He's a Marxist. We can't go into, I don't want to go into all that with him, but he's a communist. He shouldn't even be, we should not have a person of his beliefs sitting in the chair to decide who's going to get work, who's going to get a job in the government. He's out of line. He's not obeying the law of the land. You saw it right there, folks. Article 6. I don't know how much plainer it's got to be. It's written in English, if I'm not mistaken. And there's one more law I want to go look at, folks. Let's go look at the Civil Rights Act of 1964, shall we? So here we are at the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's website. And I actually made a copy of all this whole page here, but I didn't even have to do that when I got a chance to read it. Look at this right here in the first paragraph. Right in the second sentence here. Title number 7, Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. So Bernie Sanders, all he had to do is read the first paragraph of this law to realize, and he don't give a damn, folks. And you know what? See this sex here and race. If anybody else, if the fellow would have been a non-white and he would have been a Jew, or he would have been a tranny, or he would have been a backdoor man, like I think Bernie himself might be a backdoor man. You know, they get confused. They're using the exit hole as an entrance hole, and I don't want to get too graphic here, people, but these are the people, if you want to call them that. So these are the cretins that have the rule over us, folks. They have the rule over us. And you know what? A lot of people, I got a video I'm working on about the laws of God and how we no longer obey the 769 laws of God, and we don't obey those because they were too many and we didn't like them, so we got thousands of laws now we got to obey. But sodomy is punishable by death. And I'm old enough to remember in the 60s when the backdoor people were coming out of the closet saying, "Hey, leave us alone in the privacy of our bedrooms." And now they're no longer in the bedrooms, folks. They control our world, and it takes an idiot not to see that it's getting worse and worse and worse. Anyway, that's my take. That's my content on Mr. Bernie Sanders. So let's move on to the next one, shall we? The next point I want to make. I already told you about my encounter with the law enforcement officer here the other day. Well, I found out his name, and I went into the sheriff's substation down here yesterday, and I talked with the lady there in the office, and she asked me if I wanted to talk, how far I wanted to take this, and I have the option of going to internal affairs or just to speak with the lieutenant. And I basically said, well, you know what, I'd like to get a call from the officer and for him to apologize and just to acknowledge the fact that he was wrong and that he was rude and abrupt to me. So I was doing other things. When I got back and I looked on my phone, I got a call from a number here, so maybe that was him. I don't know, but I'll keep you up to date on this. The reason I go after these guys like this now, because I've made mistakes in my lifetime, because they do something to you and they know that you're busy working. So they give you a ticket, let's say, for example, and I've had this happen to me. They give you a ticket when you really shouldn't have got a ticket. They were wrong and you were right. But you're busy, you're working. The last time I got a ticket, it was in Big Fork, and the morning of the court case, it was snowing outside, and I had to drive all the way from Big Fork into Kalispell. And I regret it that I didn't take the time. I missed it, So I'm not going to let that happen again. I just paid the fine, and that's what they depend on. There's another case in mind I'm thinking about, an older man, and I can't go into all the. So, and over a period of years, this guy here, officer, can hassle me, and he gets away with it. And he gets away with it day after day, time. So he gets more emboldened and more brash and more rude and more abrupt because nobody says anything. He gets away with it. Well, depending on what he does is how I'm going to respond now to him. If he calls me up and said, "Hey, you know what? Hey, buddy, I was wrong. You were right. I'm sorry." It's over. But if he doesn't, I'm going to internal affairs. I want to say eternal. It's on my mind. Eternal. It's internal affairs. I'm going to go to the lieutenant first. I'm going to work my way up, and we'll see what happens there, folks. That's what we need to do. I understand why we don't do that, because you're busy working and you got to drive all the way down to the courthouse. But hey, this is what we should be doing. And these people, a little leaven, leaven the whole lump. We let one backdoor man in, and then he brings all of his friends, and all of a sudden now we got all the backdoor men telling us how it's going to be. And they decide our fate. This is why we need to obey the law of the Lord. 769 laws. We Israelites, we don't want. We don't. God, you made a mistake there. You made a mistake. It's too harsh to kill the backdoor men. So we're not going to do that. Well, now we're paying the price. We got. We got this woman becoming a man and that man becoming a woman, and we got the backdoor men who control our world. So we're paying the price in the long run, folks. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for support. Oh, by the way, I want to say one thing about the subscribe. I've had a couple people tell me, make a comment saying, "Hey, you got over 2,000 subscribers, but you've only got 40, 50 views. You know, I've been thinking this for quite a while. I think my channel's being managed. I can't prove it, and maybe I'm wrong, but even if 1 out of 10 come back and view who subscribe, I'd have over 200 views on every video, folks. And some videos I only get 50, 60. So don't look at the numbers and think that the content of this channel is not being viewed. It is. They got a reviewer now, and I don't know if they do that with every single video out there, but they've assigned somebody to my, or I've been tagged. You saw it, and so I got 1 strike against me. But the umpire is the game is fixed. It's rigged.
Come on in. It's all right. Hyman's in there. I was just making some lunch. Would you like a tuna sandwich?
No, thank you.
Pick up of 2 by Holden, 2nd and 8 for SC, and the ball is at the Trojans, 38.
Mr. Ross?
Come in, Michael. Sit down. Make yourself comfortable. It's almost over. You follow the football game?
Not for a while.
I enjoy watching football in the afternoon. One of the things I love about this country. Baseball, too. I loved baseball ever since Arnold Rothstein fixed the World Series in 1919.
Mark down there, say the official.
And I'm not in the club, so we'll see what happens. Don't forget about BitChute. We need to migrate over there. You can do it. You can do whatever you want. It's inconvenient, and that's why these people control our world, because we don't want to take the time and we don't want to make the effort to go and do what we need to do, to leave them in the dust, let them play their game on their own field, and let all the losers and the idiots and all the Judeo-Christians, let them play in their game. And then you and I, let's go to a different field and let's play where the field is level and nobody's telling us what we can say and what we can't say. And may the grace of God, our Father, the God of the Israelites, Yahweh, not the Jews, but the Israelites, the Caucasian race, the Europeans, the Canadians, the South Africans were being slaughtered down there, folks. The former Rhodesians who had to exit, the Canadians, New Zealand, Australia, all of you folks, you're the Israelites. And when we get to realize that, we'll be able to unite together, and we'll be able to be a force that they won't be able to defeat. May His grace be upon us all, because it should be obvious that we most certainly need it. See ya.
Are you suggesting that all of those people stand condemned? What about Jews? They stand condemned?
You know, everybody blames the Jews for killing Christ, and then the Jews try to pass it off on the Romans. You know, I'm one of the few people that believes it was the blacks. I don't care. Good. I hope the Jews did kill Christ. I'd do it again. I'd fucking do it again in a second. If I hear his Birkenstocks clacking this way,